Good.
Hi, I'm at the business show today with Kevin Smith from Boom & Partners. Hi Kevin, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Kevin, I know you've just written a book, Start Up to Scale Up, that's available today. I can see directly behind me. Can you just give us a little bit of understanding of your background and why you set up Boom & Partners?
Yeah, so Boom & Partners, I spun out of another business of mine. I've been running a business consultancy since 1996. After coming out of banking, I used to work for a number of foreign banks in the City of London as a credit analyst and then business development. But Boom & Partners, and indeed the book, is all about early stage businesses and helping them to grow. So everybody from I've got a good idea through to a raise of about £10 million. And that is, we as a business help to mentor the business and help them with understanding what they need to do, when they need to do it, and how to actually go about it. And then all about that funding piece in the middle. And again, that's exactly what the book covers.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of mentoring work, and I think that's where we first met when I was at NatWest.
Yeah.
You know, you were working with the NatWest Accelerator, but you know, we've had a challenging time over the last couple of years. So, what do you see as some of the key challenges that SMEs need to?
Well, it was interesting during lockdown. We had so many calls from people we'd never spoken to before, and many of which we've never spoken to since. But they were all saying, "How do I save my business?" So we were just advising them what they needed to do, and much of that came down to adapting or pivoting what they were trying to do. What's been so interesting coming out of that is the fact that businesses have changed their business model. So many of them are doing something new, but they've also gone back to what they were doing originally. And so their new business model is both. But this environment has created so many opportunities that weren't there before. So it's very challenging, but at the same time, there are just many more opportunities. And it tends to be small, early stage businesses that see those challenges and are able to sort of dive into them much more quickly than large companies.
You answered this a little bit in the response you just gave them, but you know, how do we overcome what we're actually facing?
Yeah. So again, I guess the biggest challenge to sort of overlap with your last question was smaller businesses have all the abilities in theory to actually adapt and pivot and understand the market more quickly. But for them, the actual real challenge is they don't have that in-house. So they really need to work with trusted partners, whether that's on project basis, accountants, lawyers, or other partners for specific things, or whether it is getting a good advisory board that plugs in the gaps, or working with hiring portal. But I think that's the biggest thing for them. And certainly when they're scaling, that whole understanding about raising financing, how to go about it, is just a challenge that, you know, you might be the world's best coder or whatever business you happen to be, but there's no reason you should know anything about building a business and raising finance.
So you touched on that in that question, right? With collaboration partnerships with partners to actually support SMEs. Do SMEs actually understand the value of working with trusted partners? Absolutely, I'm sure ours do. I mean, we are Boom and Partners, and very much the and partners is we work with trusted partners. We try to offer a core 10 or so services that we think we do very well, but we have we look for long-term relationships. What we don't want to do is if a client of ours is wanting something that we can't offer, we don't want to say, no, we can't help. We want to be able to say, well, actually, if you want a website built, go to these guys. If you want a good IP lawyer, go to these guys. And with yourselves, you offer a perfect solution for early stage businesses in terms of managing their cash and their finances. And so it works much better for us to make sure that they, as a business, are pointed in your direction, that we feel confident you will get a good service as well, rather than just saying, well, no, you need to be careful. Yeah, so some of the things you touched on were around cash flow. You touched on around raising money.
Yep.
You know, what sort of tips would you give to a business that is looking at improving their working capital position, or looking at saying, all right, I want to eventually be in a position to raise and scale? You know, what are the things they need to do maybe today
that will put them in the position to actually achieve that?
A lot of our work is based around helping businesses to get investment ready, whatever that may be. So that's pitch decks and business plans, and making sure the business is as good and sound financially as possible. But obviously, any early stage business, any growing business, cash is extremely important. So you need to do all the sensible things that you can to make sure that you preserve cash and you get it in. There's that old saying, isn't there, that turnover is vanity and profit is reality, but cash is king, and that really is the case. And so we help them understand that, and more to the point, we also help them understand about raising finance, about how to value the business, how to what is the best route to raising finance for them. And as I say, any potential investor is going to want to see that the business is maximised its whole activity, and that's where you guys and other debt and other sort of providers come in.
So, slight shift, right? Startup to scale up, you've just launched. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to write the book, and a follow-up, I think, to that would be, right, what do I expect once I read it? What will I get out of reading the book?
Well, I do a lot of published writing for many magazines, and I've written other books before. But this one is very much focused on what we as a business do. And it takes people through everything from what is a founder, what is an entrepreneur, how do I set up a business. It helps them to understand, again, what they need to do and when they need to do it. So it's everything about scaling and looking at their customers and their market and understanding how to build a team, how to network, how to get in staff. And it's split into quite nice sort of, it's 25 chapters that takes you through, and you can either read it from cover to cover and understand the whole thing, or you can pick in and out depending on where you are in the sort of your journey, and come back a month later and do another thing. But the reason I really wrote it was because I had lots of people say to me, but you do all this writing, can't you put it all together in one place? Yes. So that's all together in one place. And many people have asked me, how long did it take to write? And my rather glib answer is 40 years, because that's how much experience has gone into writing the book. And that's sort of what the comments we've already had from people have been. It's been extremely useful. It's written in such a way that it's written for intelligent people. They just don't happen to know what they need to do, and that's the sort of the focus of it.
All right, excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me today.
That's right.
We're really looking forward to working with you moving forward, and
you
have a great show.
And you. Thanks.